It was a year ago that we took you to the 7th floor of St. Louis Children's Hospital, where families were holding out hope that their sons or daughters would get the heart transplant they desperately needed. We also told you about the bond between the families, thanks in part to what they call their good luck charm. Hospitals are all about science and the latest advances in medicine. But tonight, we go back to the 7th floor for the one thing that is still touching everyone's heart. There is no medicine like hope.
It makes a big difference.
And there is a lot of hope these days in the cardiac intensive care unit at St. Louis Children's Hospital. 12-week-old Briley Marriott is recovering nicely from a heart transplant.
She's doing real good.
In her room, you can find almost a dozen expensive machines monitoring her every breath. You can also find one very inexpensive arts and crafts project hanging over her bed.
We got it on Valentine's Day, and Briley got her heart the very next day.
Everything's great.
That's what we like to hear.
Everything's good.
When 18-month-old Ruth Yarborough was born, doctors weren't sure if she would make it.
Ruth was born with basically half a heart.
Just 6 minutes after she was brought into the world, she was brought into surgery to keep her alive. How scared were you?
Terrified. Absolutely terrified.
Ruth also needed a transplant. But for a baby, the wait for a donor heart can be long. She spent the first 8 months of her life in the hospital.
Her life basically consisted of living in a crib with tubes sticking out of her.
Then one day, while her daughter was getting her usual battery of tests, Laura Yarborough got a present. Someone handed her that art project we talked about earlier, a handcrafted Native American Dreamcatcher that has become legendary in these halls.
And I called him on the phone, maybe an hour, and I was like, Josh, we don't have a heart, but I have hope.
It didn't feel real. It felt like we actually got a heart that day.
The Dreamcatcher was made several years ago by 12-year-old heart patient Jamie Chalisi as art therapy. She'd been waiting 2 months for a heart, but 4 days after she made the Dreamcatcher, she got one. So she passed it on to the next child waiting for a heart, hoping it would bring him good luck. It did, and it's been passed on ever since. 5 days after Ruth got the Dreamcatcher, she got her heart.
What do you make of this? What do you make of this?
Prayers are answered. Completely all in God's hands.
Each family attaches a small handmade heart below the web of the Dreamcatcher, which we're told is why it catches hearts instead of bad dreams.
This is her new heart.
Even the doctors here, who usually only deal with science and fact, are beginning to take notice.
You know, it's something for us to maybe believe into, and you know, takes us out of the routine of facts and figures.
When the family passes on the Dreamcatcher, they also pass on this little notebook with a personal message inside.
We pray the Dreamcatcher brings you the peace and heart you need.
That's what that Dreamcatcher symbolized. It would symbolize the road and the journey these kids had taken.
The Dreamcatcher will watch over Briley for a while longer, and then it'll be passed on again. Believing in its power, apparently, is just a matter of following your heart. 11 families have been in possession of the Dreamcatcher, and 11 children have a new heart. Of course, the families have also spent a lot of time praying for the donor families as well. A reminder, if you have a unique positive story or know of an individual making a difference, let me know personally at mbush@kstk.com.